Good morning, Tempo Freaks and Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here. It's Monday morning, and the Tempo are playing the Vegas Aces today. The last game before the WNBA All Star Weekend, and the last game of a 9-game homestand for the Toronto Tempo here in Canada. Of course, that homestand was mixed up with Bell Center in Montreal, and also started with Scotiabank Arena game against Phoenix Mercury. So we've been playing in Canada a lot. And this homestand's been nice, but at the same time, this means there's going to be a lot of road games for the rest of the year. Oh, it doesn't get any easier. So yeah, we're going to play the Aces for the first time in franchise history today. And unfortunately, our great two-time champion coach is suspended for today's game. Sandy Brondello did an interview yesterday saying that her husband, Coach Olaf Lang, will be the interim head coach for today's game due to her suspension. So, yeah, she was very emotional in that interview about the incident with the comment about Angel Reese, and she feels, she feels very reticent and very awful about her misstep, and she was very, very, very earnest and true with her apology. And but yeah, you could tell she doesn't like getting any kind of like energy on her that would seem like perceived as being racist or something like that. And I believe her. I don't think you know, she's got a long body of work in the WNBA where she's not had any kind of weird things like this. But she was very, very emotional in her interview yesterday talking about it. You could tell that this has not been an easy situation for Sandy. Well, you know what I want to say right now about Coach Sandy Brondello? She's a great leader because you know what? This situation is a great opportunity for her to lead not just her team, her players, but people around the world, whether it's the WNBA itself or it's just fans and people watching. She gave a really good example of how to uh, react to a situation like this. And hopefully we can all put this past us after this is done. But at the same time, like a lot of people are saying, these kind of unfortunate missteps or things that happen are a door to open a conversation and talk about this. Because there were probably a lot of uncomfortable conversations this weekend, partly because of this situation with parents and children and understanding what was going on with this. But these are important subjects that people should talk about and very much educate each other on. Yeah, very much. All right, let's get right into the preview for today's game. I got a new shirt. I want to thank Adriana for getting me this awesome inaugural season Toronto Tempo t-shirt for my birthday. And the back of it is really cool. It's got the whole schedule on it, including the game that her and I went to earlier this year against Chicago Sky. So it's a very, very special shirt to me because it's a inaugural season shirt and it's got all the games on it, which is cool. It's like a rock and roll tour shirt. Like it's like a fog hat shirt or something like that. Yeah, I said fog hat. I don't know why. I don't even listen to fog hat really, other than on classic radio, classical rock radio, not classical radio. What's the difference, Lex? You old head. All right, come on now. Come on now. Be nice. All right, let's go ahead and go with the injuries real quick. There are a couple of things on our injury list. First of all, of course, Sykes and Rice are not going to be coming back before All-Star for today's game. The date of estimated return at this point is July the 28th. So that would be a week and a day from today. So that would be after the All-Star break next Tuesday. That is for Sykes. Rice, I believe the same date is posted for her also. The updates about them in practice are good. They're doing individual workout stuff and not participating in full team play, but they are doing stuff to start moving in the direction of getting back on the court. And that's important. This is no surprise, but Niara is out today from the rib injury from what happened and the incident that spurned the whole controversy. is that she does have maybe either bruised ribs. I would hate to think she has broken ribs, but she does have a rib injury, and she will not be available to play against Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces today. That is unfortunate to not have our big German center, not Niara Sabali, who is out due to ribs. Ribs. I like being out for ribs, but at a restaurant. That's what I like when I like to be out for ribs. That's right. But yeah, other than that, nobody else is listed. There's no Temi here. So everybody else should be good to go for the tempo. On the other side of things, let's go look at the Las Vegas Aces for the first time this season. We have not played them at all this year. And, well, it's pretty deep into the season. And, well, we're going to have to play them a few times before the season's over. So, but Kirsten Bell is on the injury list. She has been ruled out for today's game. She will miss her second consecutive game due to a right leg issue. So Kirsten Bell out today. Also, this happened way earlier in the season, but Janiyah Barker had an injury with her leg also, and she's going to miss this whole entire season. So she will not be back for the year. So, yeah, that's the two injuries for the Aces. We'll go ahead and go over the championship pedigree Las Vegas Aces. Of course, the MVP, the big that is dominating this league in the last few years, Asia Wilson, is the leader at center. Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, these are champions. Jewel Lloyd, formerly of the Seattle Storm. Nalissa Smith, Cheyenne Parker Tyus, Justine Pissot, Dana Evans, Stephanie Talbot, Brianna Turner, Tia Latson. That's pretty much their team right there. And, of course, they're coached by the great Becky Hammon, formerly of the Silver Stars, which became the Las Vegas Aces. That's right. So, yeah, Becky Hammon versus Sandy. We are not going to get that matchup today, unfortunately. But it'll be a proxy. Olaf Lang. That's right. So we'll have to see the difference in styles of coaching between the husband and wife team. As far as will it be that much different? We'll have to see. I mean, Sandy has given them the game plan, even if she will not be actively coaching in the game. She has given them the game plan and what she wants them to do. So in some ways, that is still having a reach into the game and an influence on what happens, because she's giving the advice and saying, this is what we should do in this. And, well, Olaf's got to be the coach to execute it with the team in her absence. That's the way it works. All right, let's go ahead and check on the ESPN matchup predictor real quick. The ESPN matchup predictor is giving the Tempo a 32.5% chance to win today at Coca-Cola Coliseum against the Aces. Today's game is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, just a note, not an early 7 or 7:30 start, 8 p.m. Eastern start for the game today in Toronto. Our referees on the site for today's game will be crew chief Tim Green. Number 9 will be the crew chief. He's the guy I think of. I've been calling him WNBA Mark Davis. Yeah, he's like the WNBA Mark Davis. That's what I keep saying. Our record with Tim Green so far this season on the Toronto Tempo is 1-1. So we're 1 win, 1 loss. The second ref today will be referee number 7, Angelica Suffren. Angelica Suffren, we've had a few times. We are 1-2 with her. And, well, we've had a couple of bad games with her where she has been not totally the up-and-up kind of fair ref. And the third ref today, the umpire, will be number 46, Josh Reed. We've had Josh Reed once, and we lost. So the overall record for today's game is 2-4 with the referees. 2-4 record with the referees overall. Mr. Greg is in the chat. Good morning, Mr. Greg. Good to see you. Good morning, Lex. I will not be by for the next few days as I'm having work done on my condo. Have a good day to one and all. Well, good luck with that. I wish you luck, not just with the disturbance in your life where you can't be there, but also with the contractors, as far as hopefully they do very good work and they are on schedule. That's always something that's important when dealing with contractors. So I wish you all the luck with this endeavor, Mr. Greg, and we'll miss you in the days that you may be absent. But listen, I'll keep your streak going. You circle back at some point. We'll say, yeah, Mr. Greg's still coming around and seeing us, and that's all good. That's what's important. But thank you for coming in and checking with me this morning. All right, I'd like to go ahead and start the reaction to the final summer league game for the Toronto Raptors yesterday in Las Vegas. A lot of people sitting out for this game. Some people even took off and got out of town early. And in some ways, I don't like this. In some ways, I don't like this. The commitment of the Raptors in the summer to each other to come and work out and be around each other has been really exemplary the last couple summers, where guys would stick around. They go to Spain, they go to Miami, they go and hang out with Brandon Ingram at his house in North Carolina. You know, we've had a little bit of that. They came and hung out with Colin Murray-Boyles at his house in South Carolina when it was his birthday. We've seen the guys show up for the first summer league game, which was the toughest game against Boston, the 1-point loss to Boston in the first game in overtime. But Kawhi came through for a second, but these guys took off. They took off. And namely the ones that I'm disappointed in. And I get it in some ways with Colin, but not totally with Elijah. They just took off. They left. They were literally on the summer league roster. And, in some ways that's a commitment to come and try and play in each of the games or be around. But they said, no, you guys can go. You can go. Because like Colin Murray-Boyles was posting on Saturday that he was in South Carolina and Columbia back home and getting time there. I mean, in some ways, I can't get mad at that. But also at the same time, I'm like, why weren't you there sitting on the bench rooting on your team that you'd been training with at Summer League? And Elijah, you definitely needed to be there, man. Because honestly, you need to be soaking up every single moment that you could play, every single interaction with the coach or anybody to get a more insight and to be better and better and better. So I'm a little worried about this. And I didn't like that they weren't there, at least just sitting on the bench in street clothes watching. Of course, there were other guys sitting on the bench in street clothes watching. And that would be number 1 pick, Alan Graves, the center from Oregon, Nate Biddle, and the standout from this summer league, journeyman Seth Lundy. Yeah, they were all in street clothes, and Chucky's been shut down for a couple games, and he was still there in street clothes. Elijah Martin, hello. Chucky was still there. Chucky's commitment and is showing. In some ways, his commitment is showing. So give a point to Hepburn for showing up. And not only that, Chucky did an interview with ESPN in the middle of the game last night where he spoke glowingly of the Raptors organization, and he said things like, this is just how we do it up in Toronto. This is a Raptors way. And you know what? Chucky, you're a badass. Thank you for going on national television in the United States on ESPN2 and saying things they don't want you to say on American television down there, which is talking about how the Raptors organization is top-notch and is doing things right, because that's a dirty secret that they don't really want to talk about. And they will avoid talking up the Raptors in any kind of way. So Chucky put it on them in the interview, and he talked up the Raptors. So big points for Hepburn yesterday, whether it's being there in street clothes, showing that he's committed, and he's sitting next to coaches with Nate Biddle, talking to the coaches and interacting and cheering his team on, or going on an interview on ESPN. We're giving major props to Chucky Hepburn of Louisville. Yeah. You jumped a huge furlough in the race between you and Martin from showing this commitment, Chucky Hepburn. Because I don't know where the hell you went, Elijah. If you went back to Mississippi or wherever you went to, it's fine. It's showing how you feel and how committed you are. This is not a position you can afford to do. Murray-Boyles can get away with this. But with you, Martin, I'm keeping track. And this is not a good look. Let's just put it that way. This is not a good look. So the Raptors are playing the end of their bench, the guys who didn't play a whole lot this whole summer league, in the 5th game against the Denver Nuggets. And, well, let's just say we were probably doomed to lose because we're playing the absolute bottom of the barrel for the roster, the guys who didn't get to play hardly at all, and got to get a last look at them. And we're not trying to win because we're holding out our best players, even in this game, at the end of the game, just to get looks at people. So I'm not upset about losing the game to the Nuggets. In some ways, this was not the championship game. This is a game that did not matter. And Summer League can be utilized by different teams for different reasons. Sometimes it's to showcase a rookie and check them out. Sometimes it's just to look at a lot of talent and kind of figure out who you might want for training camp. And well, they played really good in the first half. We were tied at halftime. They jumped out all over them and were kicking their butt right from the start with dominance from the two centers of Jamarian Sharp and Aziz Banadago. But then at halftime was tied up at 47. And in the third quarter, the Nuggets had a really good quarter, and we didn't. They outscored us by 10. And that pretty much was the deficit for most of the rest of the game, with us kind of clawing back some of the points in the fourth quarter, but too little, too late. And honestly, I'm really worried about our second round pick, Jaden Bradley, because this is a game where you should have been the top notch number one star for the Raptors with all the people sitting out, and you're playing with Jalen Celestine and Malik Thomas. What the hell, Jaden Bradley? You had one okay game this summer league, and then you had 4 duds. You really did. And this one's the most egregious one because this is the lowest level talent to play against, and you look bad even against that talent. Man, I'm really worried about Jaden Bradley. I don't think that there's anything extraordinary about him. They could say he's a winner and that he plays like a winner, but all I'm seeing is really close up pump fakes and trying to shoot around people like 5 feet within, and even those are kind of like, yeah, those aren't going to happen in the NBA. And second of all, that shot is kind of simple and basic. The stuff that he's doing and how he's getting scores. But either way, let's do the 5. I'm doing 5 stars because I do want to give some credit around to the guys who stuck around the whole entire summer league and put in good work for Coach Evo. So I'm giving 5 stars, even though it's a loss. My number 1 star for yesterday is Bandago. He didn't start, but he came off the bench, and he was weird in some ways. He looked so awkward the first couple of times they put him in summer league, where he just looked like he had no rhythm and he looked really awkward. But this game, he looked amazing. He looked amazing. He had really good timing. He was coming and protecting the lane, and he blocked a lot of shots. This guy, 15 minutes, 6 points on 3 of 3 shooting, perfect from the field. And some of those were lobs and easy dunks. They pretty much all were. 8 rebounds in 15 minutes. I love that. This guy was swallowing up the rebounds. He had 2 turnovers and he had 6 blocks. So 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 blocks. It was a block party. Between him and Sharp, we were blocking everything every which way, and the announcers were enjoying it. I have to give credit to the announcers. They were very unbiased last night, and they did a pretty good job. A little bit of showing favoritism to Denver by the play-by-play, but the color announcer, Tom Crean, he really knows his college basketball, and it was a delight to hear him call the game with the background on both sides because he knew all the Raptors players too, along with the Denver players. So big ups to the color commentator, Tom Crean, last night. He really is a good announcer for college, and that bridge between the NBA and college to do the summer league is a really excellent place for him to be there and showcase his knowledge. So yeah, big ups to him for sure. But yeah, Bandago, I got to give him the number 1 star just because he was such a phenom. And I know that we have his rights for G League, and he will be the center for the G League team. So he may be the backup center still, but he's going to be in the mix. And I'm looking forward to seeing him running around on the court for Coach Noah Lewis in Mississauga this year, because I will be watching 905. And hopefully Tyson Degenhart will be there also, so he can play with them, because they had a nice chemistry on the court playing yesterday. So yeah, Aziz Bandago, you are my number 1 star for the last summer league game. It's the 6 blocks and the 8 rebounds and the perfect from the field. He's cool, man. This guy's cool. I got a feeling about him. My second star of the game for yesterday is Michigan's Nimari Burnett. Amari got the interview in the middle of the game also, and he was talking. They were asking him about being a champion with Michigan Wolverines from this year's March Madness, and he's very proud of that, and he wants to build on that. You know, Namari got the invite to our summer league team while some of his college teammates got drafted. And well, he's trying to make the league too, just like Yaxel Lendeborg and Morez Johnson Jr. And well, he wants to show some stuff. I want to say for Burnett, this summer league has been pretty consistent. It's not super overall wow, but it's also, you know what? He's done contributing things in each of the 5 games. And he has been a star in 4 out of the 5 games in my star system. So yeah, Namari was the leading scorer for the Raptors yesterday. 20 minutes, 15 points on 4 of 10 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3, made all 3 of his free throws, which was a huge problem with the Raptors yesterday and a big part of why they lost. Very poor free throw shooting. Very, very poor free throw shooting. There are some bad culprits. Namari also got 9 rebounds, which is fantastic. He had 0 turnovers, and he was even on his plus minus. Yeah, it's a solid game in a game that, you know, wasn't totally pretty. There was a lot of shot blocking. And, you know, this, like, once again, the talent level that was out on the court for this game with Nuggets and Raptors is not the same talent level that was on the court for Raptors and Celtics in the first summer league game. But Namari Burnett has been a solid starter in all 5 games for the summer league. And he's the only one out of the players that played at summer league that started in all 5 games. The only one. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. The third star of the game is Jamarian Sharp. Jamarian Sharp and Vandago were a real 1-2 punch at the center position for the Raptors. I could get used to this. Having powerful 7-foot, true 7-footers at the 5 position for the Raptors organization and games. I could get so used to this. Jamarian actually showed me some extra things that made me realize maybe there is a bit more to be cultivated and developed in his offensive game. He had a little soft touch in the middle of the lane at one point where he just kind of shot it in. And it would look pretty good. It looked like, well, how come people aren't developing him? One thing Tom Crean said about Jamarian Sharp, which I found was interesting, he said, this guy Sharp, he's bulked up. And I'm like, what? He's like, you should have seen him before. He was even skinnier, is what he said. And it's not that Jamarian Sharp is a bulky guy in any kind of way. So let's go over his stat line. 25 minutes, 8 points on 4 of 6 shooting. He has a really nice chemistry with some of the other guys that were on Summer League for getting lobs. In particular, AJ Hoggard. If there's a movement down the lane with both of them, Hogart's lofting the ball just right for Sharp to get up there and alley-oop that in. Yeah. And I like that. He showed some chemistry with a few of the guys. But Hoggard in particular, 8 points on 4 of 6 shooting. And a lot of that was lobs and that little push shot in the lane. He also got 10 rebounds. I wish he had gotten one more basket, so he would have had a straight-up double-double. 1 assist, 4 turnovers, 1 steal, 3 blocks. So between Aziz and Jamarian, we had 9 blocks between the 2 players. And they may be the only ones they officially counted because, honestly, there was a lot of deflections or even, think twice about coming in here. At one point, Tom Crean, he's so funny. He's talking about, I would question Mark Sears of the Denver Nuggets decision-making because he's going inside against Jamarian Sharp, and that's not a good decision. I thought that was so funny. I was like, this is such basic basketball stuff. I mean, even when you're a little kid and you're playing against your uncle and you know he's so much taller than you and that he could block you, you don't dribble in there and try and shoot on him, right? Unless you're crazy and you know you can get blocked. So that was pretty funny when Tom Crean said that I would question Mark Sears' decision-making because he is foolish enough to try and go in there and score inside with Sharp lurking. I mean, it's true. Jamarian Sharp is a dynamic shot blocker who can pivot and block shots on multiple attempts every kind of which way. Now the Nuggets were trying to do a block party too from the other side. I forget which player name his was, but he got like 2 goaltends in like 2 possessions down the court. The guy was trying to block us, but he's a little late. And they kept scoring the baskets for us and say goaltend, goaltend, which was awesome. And he was late. And in fact, there was another goaltend later that the refs did not call that they should have called also. But there were 2 they called at least. Yeah, it was a very lengthy game, length game. And that's what they were saying in the broadcast, that there's a lot of a length has been a strength in this game as far as Sharp and Bandago for the Raptors and their shot blocking and their presence. Seriously. So Bobby, figure this out, man. Biddle sitting out makes me think that you've seen enough and you're like, okay, yeah, we know what we're going to do with you. And Lundy, same thing. So if you're still on the fence with Sharp, hopefully you saw a little bit more yesterday that leans towards you figuring out a spot for him on a roster. Because as Tom Crean said in the game yesterday, there's got to be a place in the NBA for Jamarian Sharp. That's what he said on the broadcast yesterday. There's got to be a place. I mean, I'd like us to have a 7'5" guy around, right? This is the league of Wemby we're in now. Come on now. 4-star. These are the extra 2 stars that I'm giving out just to be nice. 4-star of the game, Brandon Angel, the Oregon Ducks forward, came in and got a pretty good run for quality of his time. 14 minutes, 10 points on 5 of 7 shooting. He missed the only 3 he took. He missed his only free throw also. He also had 3 rebounds. He was a -7. Angel looks strong once again. The thing I liked about Brandon Angel was he gets after it. He's getting down on the floor and running to try and tie up things to get the jump ball. He's just getting after it, and I like that. That'll get you a long, long way in professional basketball, but it may not get you a long way in the NBA, but it'll get you a long way somewhere in this world. Trust me, Brandon Angel. So we'll just have to see where your basketball career path goes. But hey, you got 10 points in summer league against the Denver Nuggets with the Toronto Raptors. You can always say that. You can always say that. My 5th star of the game and final star of Las Vegas Summer League 2026 is the Canadian from Ajax, Jalen Celestine. Celestine was surprising me in the first half because he came out and he popped his shot and he nailed it. That's right. Jalen Celestine, 19 minutes, 9 points on 3 of 5 shooting. All 5 shots were threes. So he shot 3 out of 5 from threes. So he nailed 3 threes. And those were nice threes. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, and a -5. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't want to dump on Jaden Bradley too much, but there were a lot of guys who got way less minutes than you that outscored you, just to say Jaden Bradley. And Jalen Celestine was one of them. So, yeah, nice to see Canadian content on our summer league. And he was a nice sure shot for a little while in there. He really was. All right, going over the rest of the team that I didn't name, including the 905ers and our second-round pick, Bradley. Tyson Degenhart started, and he got a lot of run. And Tyson was doing Tyson stuff, hustling, getting after it. He had some boneheaded plays too. But that's partly what Degenhart does. 22 minutes, 7 points on 3 of 7 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. Love to see him hit a 3. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, a +1. So Tyson was one of the few players on our team that was a plus. Him and Bendago were the only 2 pluses on our team. So that we won while they were out there. Yeah, Tyson is just a hustler. Tyson reminds me so much of an old friend of mine down in Florida who played just like him, and he actually kind of looks like him too. I hope that Tyson Degenhart's on Raptors 905 again this year because he's a good person to be having continuity with. If he will have us again, if you'll come up again, Tyson, we'd love to see you run around in the G League in 905 again this year. And who knows, if you show more promise and development, maybe you'll get that 10-day contract and get up to the Raptors this year. Or you go the way of some of your friends from last year, Roddy, Sarr, and Reese, and you get a 2-way with another team. Either way, I'd like to see Tyson Degenhart playing for Coach Lewis in a couple months. I really would. Jaden Bradley, our second-round pick, was just, man, what the hell? Like, all right, you know what? This is what I'll say. Chucky Hepburn showed leadership on the court the 2 games he played in summer league, and he didn't need to show anything else. Jaden Bradley, you went 5 games and you did not show anything in the 5 games like a point guard leadership. This was your chance last night to take over the game either as a scorer and say, I'm this kind of caliber player above these other players, or direct the team as the floor general and control the pace and do the things to take care of the team and the ball so that the Raptors have the best chance to beat the Nuggets. But no, you're a dud, man. In some ways, you're playing second round cardio out there, second round pick cardio, just running up and down the court and not having an effect on the game, man. This is not why you got drafted by the Raptors and Bobby Webster. I have no idea why they drafted you. In some ways, I'm very much thinking that you're going to be the first major miss of Bobby Webster's solo GMing career for the Toronto Raptors. So, man, you got a long road ahead of you, and summer league was not kind to you, Bradley. So you need to do a lot of work in the next 2 months, and then when we get to training camp and preseason, I want to see something there too. This is the thing, second rounders. Just because you got drafted, Elijah Martin and Jaden Bradley, doesn't mean jack shit. Nothing's guaranteed for y'all. Maybe there's a year that's guaranteed here, but that second year ain't. And oh man, you guys are annoying me. If we switched out Bradley before the year for some reason for somebody else, even Seth Lundy, I would not be upset. And I don't think many Raptors fans would be upset either, because we're seeing what's going on out there and we're all like, what the hell is this guy? Seriously. 23 minutes, 8 points on 3 of 7 shooting, 1 of 4 at the free throw line. This is something where, I can dump on you for not doing the 2 things I just said, either taking over the game and being the ultimate badass and the number 1 player on the court, or being the floor general to lead the Raptors to a victory. You missed 3 out of 4 of your free throws. And the most egregious part of that is those were multiple point free throws. We lost the game by 7 points. In theory, you could have had a chunk of those free throws, 6 points at least in those free throws that you missed. I think one of your free throws was a and one, so maybe 5 points. But you messed up 5 points of the deficit, the 7 points. And even once again, just like at the end of the last game where you didn't show any urgency to try and make up the points to make the point differential to get us the Summer League championship bracket, you had no urgency in the fourth quarter when the game was close to try and come back and win. There was no like, wake up, this is time to go. This is when you need to really go for it if you really want to try and turn this into a W. There was none of that. And it's so disappointing. In some ways, I don't see this guy as a competitor. I don't see this guy as a winner. I'm wondering who the hell he is and why is he on my team? That's what I'm thinking right now. Seriously, you missed 3 of 4 of your free throws, Jaden Bradley. You could at least show the promises like, wow, he's fundamentally, at least he's making his free throws. But that's a sign that you're not a serious player. Seriously, that's a really bad sign. Really, really bad sign. Tyreek Key shot the same as Jaden Bradley in this game, but I don't expect the same things from Tyreek Key, because Tyreek Key is, this will be his 3rd year around the Raptors organization. If he's back again this year on 905, this will be his 3rd year on our team. And I love that. Could very well be Tyreek Key was invited to training camp already, and he will be one of the 21 spots fighting for a spot on the roster. You better watch out, Jaden Bradley, because honestly, some people out there may be like, you know what? I'd rather have Tyreek Key on the team than Jaden Bradley. Seriously. So if we're looking at the standings for the point guard position in the Raptors, Chucky knows the hierarchy. He talked about it in the interview. I'm so happy to learn from veterans like Emmanuel Quickley and Jamal Shed. And, name dropping the guys above you in the depth chart is always a good sign, is always a good thing. Because, look, you're getting Emmanuel Quickley's name on ESPN and saying, yeah, I look up to Emmanuel Quickley. He's teaching me. No, Chucky gets it. So he's 3rd on the depth chart. If you're asking me right now, he's 3rd. Emmanuel, Jamal, Chucky, Elijah, and then Jaden Bradley. Yeah. I mean, after this summer league, that's what I look at it. Elijah, you could have played and you might have looked better than Chucky in the power standings, in my mind, for the hierarchy for that position on our team this year. Yeah, that's the order I got right now. Chucky stayed. Chucky helped coach. Chucky was on ESPN touting the greatness of the Raptors organization. Yeah, Elijah, man, you're dropping the ball. You're dropping the ball, not participating in summer league and then leaving early. You can't afford to do that, Martin. I'm sorry. I don't care if you won a national championship with the Florida Gators 2 years ago. None of that shit matters at this point. None of it. That's right. Tyreek Key, 21 minutes, 7 points on 3 of 7 shooting. He was 1 of 3 from 3. He missed his only free throw, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, a -2. It was not a good game totally for Tyreek. But in some ways, he's not supposed to be one of the main guys on this. In some ways, those 905 guys were there to help with continuity and teamwork and kind of be filler in between guys that are helping the team just look like a team. People that are familiar with the Raptors' ways of doing things because they've been playing in the Raptors organization for a couple years already. So I didn't expect a whole lot from Tyreek. Although if he had busted out a 30-point game and been the most dominant player in the game, I wouldn't have been surprised by that either, because I've seen him do that in 905 many, many times. All right. Also off the bench, Malik Thomas finally got some good burn. And in some ways, I want to give him the honorable mention. He was chaotic this whole summer league. The first couple appearances that he made were very short and chaotic and just kind of crazy. In some ways, he was mouthing off and getting all crazy. An ultimate competitor, even though in some ways he was still kind of messy. Messy is the right word for him. But Malik showed promise in this. And you know what he showed? He showed the thing that I wanted from Jaden Bradley, which was a spirit of competition to meet the challenge of his rivals, eye of the tiger kind of stuff, because he had some crazy baller moves in this game. He may have taken the most shots out of all the Raptors yesterday. He did 14 shots, but he was trying and he was balling out and he was somewhat successful in the runs to try and get back against the Nuggets in the second half. So, yeah, 22 minutes from Malik Thomas. Not that Malik Thomas, the other one that's on the other team. 13 points on 6 of 14 shooting, 1 of 7 from 3. Maybe not so many threes, my guy. 1 turnover and 1 steal. This man's definitely not a point guard, even though he's got point guard's height, because he ain't trying to pass it to nobody else. He's balling out for himself. This guy might be really good in CBL. Malik Thomas, you should go play for Saskatoon up here in Canada. Seriously, you should come up here. You're built for CBL. You're absolutely built for CBL, Malik. Come on now. You could be a legend in Canada. That's right. Last guy to go over is AJ Hoggart. 19 minutes for AJ. AJ got a lot of derision from Tom Crean in this game because late in the game, AJ tried to take over a little bit, and he's done this in the last year. That's the thing. Tom Crean watched AJ Hoggart in college, but he didn't watch him in G League like I have. And this is the thing, Tom Crean. AJ Hoggart has been one of these catalysts for the 905 to get back in games in the fourth quarter. And by doing what he was doing, even if it looks selfish and you're like, that's not the best shot they should have took. In some ways, what has happened in the pattern with Hoggart is he's a spark to get a scoring run going because he either does a quick pull-up three or he does his little drive into the lane with his teardrop shot like this. And he's usually successful. In fact, AJ Hoggart keyed a bunch of big-time comebacks for Andrew Jones III and the Raptors 905 last season. So forgive him for trying to take over and direct things in the fourth quarter when you were saying, no, you should pass it. He should not be taking the shots. This is actually an action that we used on our team for the last year in G League. So, yeah, AJ got the second most shots after Malik Thomas. 19 minutes with 6 points on 2 of 12 shooting. Yeah, he shot too much because it was only 2 of 12. 0 of 4 from 3. He made 1 of 2 free throws, 1 rebound, 9 assists, though, with 1 turnover, and 2 steals, a -7. Yeah, he's playing good at the point guard, much better than Bradley, in some ways, much better than Bradley, being more of a floor general. In fact, they took out Jaden Bradley at certain points for AJ Hogart to run things with more stability. So that's not a good sign, second round pick. I'm going to say that right now. I'm really sad that Biddle didn't play in this game, but it does show good sign that he didn't for him. Trust me. And Lundy too. Like honestly, I put the challenge to Seth Lundy after one really good game earlier in this summer league, and I said, do this consistently for a few games. And he did. He did it for 3 games straight. He had a very top-notch game. And well, he got the luxury of sitting out because it's like, well, we've seen enough of what you do, Seth. And you're good. You're good. You're probably coming to training camp. You're probably coming to training camp. So yeah, that's a look at the box score for the Raptors. Looking at the other side, we'll give some credit to former Raptor Jamias Ramsey, who really was the person who beat us yesterday. Jamias Ramsey's no joke. He's a man of God. This man is fueled and powered by God, and nothing else matters. They did an interview with former Raptor Jamias Ramsey in the middle of the game where he said, well, if we win or we lose, I don't care because God is on my side. If I play good or I don't play good, it's all God's will. And, well, I'm just out there playing, and I'm going to do my best, and we're going to try and do our best in the second half to win this game. Well, he did. He did exactly that. It was God's will. And Jamias Ramsey's so daring, he'll go into the lane and shoot over Jamarian Sharp, not be afraid of 7'5". In some ways, it's the experience of the player who's been in the NBA and played a lot of NBA games already in his career with Oklahoma City and the Toronto Raptors. And well, he got out there and fearlessly and with expertise and knowledge and confidence, he could navigate around 7'5" Jamarian Sharp and make shots. So yeah, when the Nuggets were in trouble and they were kind of not really well organized, Ramsey stood up and carried. And he was definitely their best player yesterday. 22 minutes for Jamias, former Raptor. 20 points on 9 of 9 shooting. He shot 9 of 9, including 2 of 2 from 3. He also had 8 rebounds with 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 2 steals. He's the MVP of the game. He's the star of the game. He's the most powerful, dominant player in the game. And it is as should be because this man has been an NBA player, and this guy is a top-notch player. They were talking about Ramsey and the difference between him and college. It's very interesting to listen to Tom Crean. He's saying Ramsey was not a power player like this in college, and he didn't really have. He was a power player in college, but he didn't really have the 3-point shot. So he's saying that he added the 3-point shot and some of the more finesse stuff, but he was a powerful player going to the basket his whole career. But big shout out to former Raptor Jamias Ramsey for being the player of the game and winning the game for the Nuggets. Am I mad about losing to the Nuggets? No, because it's a summer league. That game didn't matter. And that game was to showcase guys like Jalen Celestine and Malik Thomas and see if there is anything of value in looking into keeping them around in different ways. It's all about the purpose of the game. You can tell how much the game mattered by the fact that most of the Toronto Raptors staff or players was not anywhere around watching it. We've seen consistently Pat Delaney, Steven Silas, and Darko and different people sitting at courtside watching the game. But no, we always saw were a bunch of Warriors fans coming in and sitting down and getting ready for the championship game of the summer league between the Grizzlies and the Warriors. So, Coach Evo, in some ways I will not give you a good grade for this. In some ways I would like to give you an A, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give you a C+ for your coaching in summer league because I feel like you were unaware of the situation for the championship and the point differential, and that's a huge fail. And also, I'll give you credit for motivating and doing some smart rotations and smart player personnel, but I understand the reason for summer league isn't necessarily to try and go out all out to win, but also at the same time you want to build winning habits. So there were a few fails here and there. And I didn't totally like some of the things that he did in certain situations. There was some bad challenge calls. There was some bad judgment in some of the things that happened. So I got to give Evo a C+ as a coach. There's been other Raptors assistant coaches that have done way better at Summer League than Coach Simovic. And I'm just going to be honest about it. If I'm rating the coaches that go to 905, I can tell the difference between a very strong coach and one that isn't. I think that Evo's a very strong coach, but he needs some work with strategy. I think he's very good at development and training guys to get good. He's often at the joined at the hip with players in the past. In the beginning, it was Gary Trent Jr. and Grady Dick. And now I hear that he's really attached to the hip with Colin Murray-Boyles and trying to make him better and better. He's a development coach. Being a head coach is tough because you have to work with the refs and the players and the game. And in some ways, Coach Evo has a command of respect, and he has a very good relationship with the players. But in some ways, there's some stuff that's just a little bit lacking. But that's why you do things like this, to get the experience and see where you are lacking. And strategy, I think strategy was his biggest weakness as far as challenge, and also just the very huge thing about the point differential last Thursday night. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. All right, looking at the team stats real quick for the last Summer League game. We finished 3-2 for the Summer League. This is not a better Summer League output than last year or the year Scotty was a rookie. We were 4-1 in those years. And unfortunately, we're going to be 3-2. I wish we had won yesterday, but in some ways it doesn't matter. We shot better than them. We shot 46% to their 41%. We made less free pointers, though. They made 11 threes. We only made 7. The free throw line was dismal and awful. First of all, they got 5 more free throw attempts than us, and that's a big deal in the G League rules for free throws. And we shot 45% from free throw, 5 of 11. That is awful. In fact, that area right there could have won the game. Making a couple more threes could have won the game. There's a couple places where we could have won the game. We out-rebounded them 42-38, which is great. The assist-to-turnover ratio was 21-15 for the Raptors yesterday, and that's not totally horrible. 16-13 for the Nuggets, so we were on them. They did steal the ball from us quite a bit, but we got 10 block shots. That's a big deal right there. But we won a lot of the battles, but we didn't win the game. We didn't win the game in the end, and that's too bad. So, yeah, just looking over the Raptors versus the Nuggets, the final Summer League game. Summer League game is over, and now we're back into the drought of no Raptors-related kind of stuff happening until September. So, yeah, we got a month and a half or so, maybe even 2 months before we're going to get heavy with the Raptors again. So, yeah, hasta la vista. Hope you guys have a good rest of your summer. Enjoy your time with your loved ones and your vacations. And hopefully you guys are getting together in different ways and doing some pre-work for the season like you have the last few summers. We found out this morning on Instagram that Alan Graves is expecting. That's right. Him and his wife made the announcement this morning that they're expecting a baby boy in January of 2027. So, yeah, congratulations to the Graves family. What a year. You're coming in to get your rookie year, and you're going to be a father all at the same time. Very, very interesting. Hopefully that will be a big boon to Alan Graves and inspiration. We all know about Fred VanVleet Jr.'s effect on Fred VanVleet Sr. in the 2019 championship run. So we'll have to see. I think that in some ways, Scotty becoming a father with his daughter and son has made him a lot more responsible and mature, and also want to go above and beyond in his basketball career. Sometimes these kind of things will be huge motivators in getting people to go to new levels because they want to do that for their kids' future and securing better things for them. So, yeah, I think that this is definitely an effect on what drives Scotty. All right, let's see. We got a call on the air. It's going to be Infamous. Let me get this phone hooked up and make sure the volume's up. Good morning, Infamous. How are you?
Good morning, Lex. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's a Monday, but it's sun is shining and I've got air in my lungs, and so I'm all right.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah.
The Infamous 6. I'm going to keep it brief and short.
All right, let's do it, man.
I got the trivia question for you.
Okay, I love it.
Okay. So this trivia question is a three-parter, right?
Okay.
It's three questions. I want you to name the well-known actress that sung and wrote the theme song for the TV show The Jeffersons, Moving On Up. Can you name the actress, the name of the show that she was a part of, and her character on the show?
Wow, that's a deep.
This is a tough one. Yeah,
that's a deep one. Now, I'm gonna guess, was she actually on the show, The Jeffersons?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Because I was gonna say, all right. I was gonna say, all right. With that voice, is that voice? Now, all right. Can I ask one more question? Was the other show
Sure,
that
I can give you clues.
hang on. What was that other? Was the other show also a situational comedy, like a half-hour comedy?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's another famous show.
Is it somebody from What's Happening?
No.
No. Okay.
I'll give you a clue.
All right.
I'll give you a clue.
Sure.
It's the other show. The first name for the other show is Good.
Okay, it was Good Times, obviously.
I know.
Making
it easy for you.
So, okay, and that's JJ Walker. Okay, who was is it the mother? And her name? No, it's not the mother. It was the neighbor.
Yes.
I don't remember her name though. And she was married to the white guy, right?
Correct.
And she's actually the mother of, isn't she the mother of somebody who's famous?
Yes. Yes.
And her son is a big time rock star.
Oh, no. You're talking about
Lenny Kravitz.
No. No, that's not her.
Not her. Okay.
Well, I'll give you the name.
All right. Yeah. You know I'm better on wrestling trivia.
Her name is Jeanette Dubois.
Okay. Yeah, I would never got that.
She was Winona, the neighbor.
Oh, okay.
So she co-wrote and sung the theme song for the Jeffersons.
Moving On Up.
Yes.
Okay, you stumped me.
Yeah.
You stumped me. Now I have pretty good knowledge of old situational comedies, but you found a spot where I was kind of, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
I had to get you something hard because you're really good.
Well, the wrestling, I'm going to be good. I'll always get the wrestling ones, but it's like, other areas I can get into television and movies trivia sometimes, but I do have a lot of big blind spots. And music, I will really kick butt on music trivia and wrestling. Those are the two, and basketball, obviously. I'll do really well in basketball. Yeah, but all right, cool. Okay. Well, you did stump me today. This is amazing. You did stump me today.
I got you today.
Awesome.
Okay, let's get into number one.
All right.
The summer league situation. I don't want to butcher his name, but I was very impressed with the gentleman that played center.
Aziz Banadago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love his energy.
Yeah.
Love it. Like that energy and tenacity will get you far.
For sure.
Like
and that wingspan.
Yeah. I mean, did you see that block he made where he dunked on one hand and ran down the court and made that? That was incredible.
That was really incredible. It was really, really good. Now, he's not going to have some of the skills that Shamshay had as far as the dribbling and the passing and stuff. But there seems like there's a lot of promise with Aziz. And once again, I'll say this. He was drafted in the international draft for the G League. So the 905 have his rights.
Love it.
So he should be running for us in Mississauga this year. And I look forward to, there's some shades of Ibaka in him. But the thing I really loved about him was exactly what you said, is his enthusiasm. You could feel like he was enjoying himself. And you could also see that he was there was some charisma and energy to him.
Yes, every time he was on the floor, you noticed it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we barely saw him in the first few games of the summer league, and he got a really good extended run this time. And I was like, wait a second, this dude has a lot of promise. Because
Yes.
I was kind of like, wait, because the first couple times we saw him, it was kind of like a little clunky and like, oh, I don't know about this dude. But then when he got good burn like he did yesterday, I was like, okay, this is somebody we can work with. And you know what, that play you talked about where he did the one end and then went the other end and defensively blocked the guy's shot. Absolute great effort. And just really like that is the stuff right there that'll get you in the league.
That's the stuff I noticed, because in order to get in on this league, you got to show that tenacity and hustle. The other, because we're one of the best developmental teams in the league. Let's be honest.
It's true.
We're good at the. But if you can show that aspect of your game, we can work with it.
Yeah,
we can work with it, and this could be our next comment Malawat. You remember how we kind of missed out on Kamal Walawat?
Forget about that. Let's not even talk about our miss. Let's say Koloko.
Koloko, yeah. I love it. Okay, so all right. The next thing, we move on to the next topic. Real quick. I want to talk about the situation with the tempo.
Sure.
Me being a black man.
Okay.
That's the whole situation with Sandy
and Angel.
Angel. I'm going to be 100% honest. I think she just misspoke.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a person. Trust me, if it was anything racial or anything like that, or I would call it out.
Sure.
I'm the first one to call stuff like that out. But I want to say, because I look at your resume, there's no situation in the past where this has ever been brought up about her. Yeah. Right. So I think it's just words that were just misspoken. And people got to remember, she was defending another black woman.
Yeah.
Come on, you know what I mean? So I think we're hypersensitive because of what's going on with the
world.
With the world. With the whole thing with Caitlin Clark of the U.S. Department and all that stuff.
I think another factor and I'm not trying to give excuses for Sandy, but I think another factor that is really, really important to factor in is the competitiveness of competing.
Correct.
And I think that, really what this was a coach that was politicking for her team to get the calls with the ref. And she just used a very unfortunate series of words that really, she could have said, is she a protected person? Is she a protected player? Is she a protected all-star? There's all kinds of other nouns she could have used in that statement that would have came off perfectly fine and no issues. Correct. So but there's a lesson learned there, and I think that once again, it's a really, in some ways, this conflict and this thing happening is actually a really good opportunity for a lot of conversations.
Correct. You know what I do love about what she did though, Lex?
Yeah.
She apologized. This is the thing. You apologize immediately.
Yeah.
And don't make an excuse for your apology.
Exactly.
I would say that. Don't do it. Just apologize immediately. Yeah. Say, hey, I wasn't wrong. I did something wrong. Or she didn't go and say, well, I'm from, that's the word we use and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that in the interview yesterday, but she apologized before that, and she's trying to clear it up. The other thing that people do in apologies sometimes is they'll say something like, well, if I made you think that I did this, or if I made you feel this way, that's not the best way to apologize, is to say, well, if I made you feel this way, you got to come correct and do it correctly in a respectful way. And I think she did a textbook kind of thing to show this is how you do it correctly.
I love it. I love the apology. Yeah. You got on it immediately. You apologized, and let's try to.
To me, the suspension is a little bit overreach, but I guess if the league really wants to show that they are not tolerating any of this kind of stuff, this is the right kind of thing then. So
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
So getting on to the game. Yeah. I think tonight. Now here's the thing. Situational. I believe we can get the aces tonight. And let me explain why.
I like this.
We can get the aces tonight because I believe this whole situation could be a motivational factor for the team.
For the tempo.
Number two, for the tempo. Number two, we're getting up close to the All-Star break, right? So this team, the Aces may not be 100% motivated to maybe go
They're
all
seeing
out for
vacation tomorrow.
Right, their headspace might be.
But knowing
like,
Coach Hammond, she won't allow that.
yeah, that's true. But it's human nature sometimes. Or,
Yeah, no,
sometimes
that's
human
true.
nature.
And a few of them are all-stars. So they may be kind of getting ahead and being a little distracted and making arrangements and trying to figure out what kind of things they're going to be doing around the all-star break.
Right. And the third thing is familiarity.
Yeah.
I think this is our first time facing a team, right? So they're not familiar with us to a certain degree. Now, is Saab out? I didn't
She's
hear
definitely
you
out. She is definitely out.
I had a feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be a little bit of issue. But if you look at the Aces kind of play a little bit of small ball. They don't have a bona fide center.
Well, somebody was saying yesterday, I think it was in our Discord, that they don't respect the Aces defense. Like their defense is not trying hard. And they're playing a little lazy on defense this year. And they're really kind of coasting on their dominance through Wilson and they're exemplary like players. So they're really leaning into their offense. In some ways, this is kind of like Jewel Lloyd's player profile, right?
That's a good point.
So I'm wondering if because they're being a little lackadaisical this year on the defensive end, maybe our offense can wake up again and get somewhere. Obviously, they're going to key on Mabry, and they're going to try and take her away. But could we get things going in the right way with other people, and then Mabry comes around and gets her shine anyway because other people are causing trouble? Because the Tempo are the best when they're playing up tempo and getting a lot of points and scoring and scoring and scoring. We get like 120, 110 points. We may be able to beat the Aces. But that production's got to be found in the different members of the team.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because they're tenacious on the defensive end, especially Chelsea Gray.
So they are okay on defense, because I heard somebody saying that this year, and as opposed to other years, they don't look as good on that end. And
no, they're not as good as they used. Yeah, that is correct. But they're still a veteran team. They're still one of the best teams.
And they probably have a lot of pride. And they don't want to lose the first year team from Canada. They probably don't want to have that.
I'm just being hopeful.
Well, I like this because this is the kind of hope that got us a 1-point victory against the Liberty in Montreal.
Right, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough without Saab. I'm going to be honest with you.
For sure, I can see that. I mean, just trying to contain Aja Wilson is going to be,
Oh gosh,
yeah. All right. Any more points?
This is my final word.
All right, cool.
This is a question to you, Lex.
Sure.
There's a question. With all the issues going on with the whole snow time Lakers and all stuff like that,
I'm
going to give you 5 players. Can you rank them in order of best to least?
Okay.
Whichever order you want to order.
This is interesting.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 players: Stockton, Dirk, Joker, Jerry West, Bird.
Oh wow! All right, you want me to go from the best to the worst in that list?
Yes, or whichever order you want to go from the least to the best, or whichever order.
Well, to me, the best player out of that group is the Joker.
Okay, that's number 1.
Nicola's number 1, just because of just who he is and what he does. To me, I'm a little sentimental, and even though I'm not really for this team anymore, I would say Bird is second.
Okay, Bird is number 2. Okay.
And it's partly because of the chips he collected. Third, I would go Dirk. And I'm favoring the big guys because in some ways they can do more. Jerry West 4th and John Stockton last, even though John Stockton was one of the greatest assist makers and steals, like at the top of the list in the league. He was very much a role player in some ways. He was very good at his role. He was probably one of the best point guards ever in the history of the NBA, but he's limited. He's a very limited player. That, he also, the one thing that people don't say enough about John Stockton is he was absolutely a dirty player. And he was one of the dirtiest players in the league. And in some ways, I lose respect for him on that. We also got to say Stockton never won anything. So So you got West. West had the problems with the Celtics in the 60s, button up with them and losing them over and over again. But he finally broke through and got one championship with Elgin Baylor way back. So I got to give him that. And Dirk got his one chip too with Dallas. And in some ways, Jerry West, I can't really opine on him correctly completely because I didn't really get to see him play. But I know from his stats and I know from his time on the Lakers that he was a phenomenal scorer, and that's better than John Stockton.
Right. I thought you would have Bird number one, and on my honest opinion, Lex.
Interesting. I mean, if I was going solely by chips, Bird would be number one. But I got to look at the all-round player that Jokic is, and he's just. I mean, he really is something never seen before in basketball.
Great.
Arvydas may have been the early version of him, Sabonis, but Jokic is a whole other level beyond Arvydas Sabonis. So, all right, that was an interesting exercise.
That's all I got for today, Lex. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Infamous. Thank you. I hope you do too, man. I hope you have a good start to your week on this Monday. And let's watch some CBL and let's check out the WNBA All-Star Week. This is coming up. Yeah.
Great.
Let's go tempo. Let's beat the Aces. Awesome. All right, let's get back to the chat. Thank you, Infamous. I'll talk to you again very soon.
Peace.
All right, awesome. Man, he stumped me. I didn't know that one. I love that song too. Moving on up to the east side. We finally got that deluxe apartment in the sky. It's such a good song, man. It's such a good song. It's so catchy. All right, yeah, let's see what y'all are saying. I see y'all filled it up since we've been talking here. This is awesome, man. All right, so yeah, this was big news yesterday. G has brought this up. This is NBA news that our guy Lou Getz, Team Canada, Montreal's finest, has been traded as of yesterday. We speculated that Dort would be the odd man out in the Thunder because of the contract situations, the age of him compared to people like Isaiah Joe and Wiggins, that he would be the one. And they did. They moved on from him, trading him to the Atlanta Hawks in a weird deal where Ryan Nebhard actually got traded to the Hawks also. So now Atlanta Hawks are one of the most Canadian teams in the league because they've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the younger Nebhard, and Lou Getz-Dort. I'm liking this Hawks team more and more. I was very happy when they got Nickeil and seeing him get the most improved player last year and what he did. This is a great pivot from Trae Young and DeJounte Murray kind of stuff to go towards Canadians, Atlanta Hawks. I feel like the Atlanta basketball teams are very serious about actually doing something and be winners. Between the Dream, acquiring Angel Reese, and the moves that the Hawks are making right now, Atlanta is becoming a much better basketball city very fast. So I'm excited about this, and I will have rooted interest for the Hawks this year because of our Canadians on that team. So good luck to Lou Getz. Who knows if it works out there or not? Who knows? He may be moving around a little bit more. And well, could he put that Raptors red on that Raptors red jersey on at some point? We love that up here in Canada to see Dort on the Raptors. Yeah, this is great news, G, and thank you for bringing it up. Smooth saying this, more Kawhi news per John Hollinger. Now, John Hollinger, as an NBA source of news, is somewhat respected by me. I don't disregard everything that they say, but, they can be very good. Let's see. There might not be a resolution until training camp, is what John Hollinger is saying. This was reported as of 45 minutes ago. Thank you, Reggie. So they're saying there may not be a resolution until training camp. Well, in some ways, is this going to be some sort of weird way to try and hold up things and kind of screw with us? Either way, we've proven in the past, because we know this is true, that Kawhi Leonard did not do anything with the Raptors in our championship year until training camp, and he just showed up right then. So, I mean, we'll have to gauge this as it comes out and when it finally happens to see if there actually was some sort of thing that was a detriment for the Raptors from the whole hold off of the trade. with the investigation and everything. But yeah, in some ways, this is interesting. This is a while from now and annoying. Let's just put it that way. But it may not be a big problem. Let's see. Yeah, as Reggie's saying, that's just fear mongering, in my opinion. Yeah, that could very well be. I like that you're looking at this through a critical lens, Reg. I really do, because you're not just taking it for what it says, and you're kind of looking through it, and you're saying, "Well, could he be wrong? Could it be that actually this gets resolved before then?" Yes. And if it's Adam Silver's choice, it'll be resolved way before training camp. In fact, I think we've heard Adam Silver himself say in the press conference last week that he wants this resolved by August, and that's in 10 days. So yeah, that's the thing. We'll have to see. I like that you're thinking through everything in a critical way right now. That's right. Medved Ted's here. Good morning, Medved Ted. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. That sucks, man. We need to be compensated for this BS. In some ways, it's not really a detriment to us because this is the way it always used to be in the NBA. It's only more recently that teams are more committed as players to coming around and be involved with teams in the offseason. The way I knew the NBA when I was a kid, the players just went home and did whatever they wanted to, and they didn't have to do anything or answer to the team in any kind of way. So if you're thinking about the old school way of things, this is not a big deal. As long as he can be there for training camp, we can get going with him from the start. Then it won't be a detriment. But if it's lingering past training camp start, then it's starting to be a problem. So we got the clock until then. And I don't know how we would get compensated for this in this kind of way. I don't know how we would. Maybe take a draft pick off there. Yeah, that's how. That's how right there. Yeah, if Kawhi gets any kind of suspension, I expect Bobby to rework the deal and get some picks back. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Bobby's a shrewd negotiator. In some ways, though, it's like a weird poker game where it's like, okay, the aspiration investigation's over, but this is the part of the punishment that we don't like. And in some ways, we want to call your bluff. We want to take these picks off, or we're going to call the deal off. Wait a second. What if you call the deal off, Kawhi has to come back here? And this is that can't happen. Well, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Who has the leverage? That's what I'm saying here. Who has the leverage in this situation? That's what I'm wondering right here. That's what I'm wondering. That's right. Medved Ted's bringing up the Summer League team last night. I would like to have Sharp on the roster along with Biddle. You never know. Yak's back issue could flare up during the season. Maybe we need more than one backup center. I completely agree with this. I've always thought, and this is how I was taught when I was a kid, that a team needs 3 centers. Just like you need 3 point guards. You need to have depth at positions. And I feel like the small ball of the league and the way the league has really disrespected the center position for about 10 years, and it's finally coming back around because of people like Victor Wembanyama, that you really do need 3 true centers. And the Raptors in the last 5 years or so have been running on 1, 0, or 2 at the most. And I like insurance. And in fact, why not have Bandago as the 4th guy in the works coming up through the 905 also? It looked like we had 3 good 7-footers at Summer League. All 3 of them are going to be in the mix, hopefully. As far as, Sharp, good job. You're a Raptor now. Let's make him a Raptor, Bobby. Don't fuck around, because his long arms and the way he is attractive to the rest of the league. You got that fish on the line, you better reel it in and not let it go back into the lake, because you let that fish go back in the lake, that 7'5", 10-foot wingspan is going to another team in the NBA, and they may figure out how to make him more valuable to be in the NBA. That's the thing. We you know what? Look, if anything, put him on that 2-way so he can play in both leagues and he can get some time with the Raptors in spot duty. But he's working on his development most of the time on 905 with Coach Noah Lewis and getting better and better. You got to keep Sharp, and you've got to keep Biddle, because if you don't keep both of them, somebody else is going to get them, and we're going to have to listen to Raptors fans whine and cry about letting them go for years to come. I know, because of Brandon Carlson. I know how this works. So, Bobby, don't fuck with this. Seriously. Listen to Medved Ted. You need both of those guys, both of them, and they'll be cheap. and they'll fit right underneath the second apron. That's the thing right there. That's right. Reggie's saying just other moves need to be made, and this can't be hanging over the team till training camp. I don't know if any other moves are going to be made. Once again, we have no money, Reggie. We have 2.4 million, and that's below a minimum veteran contract. So even if we wanted to get a second vet like Kyle Anderson, we can't at this point because we are hard capped and there is no money in our wallet to spend. You go to the corner store when you're a little kid. I want to buy the bubble gum. I want the gobstopper jawbreakers. I want the nerds. I want this candy and this candy. All right, kid, where's your money? I ain't got no money because I spent it all on Kawhi Leonard. Oh, well, sorry, we can't sell you this candy. We ain't got no money. So there's no moves to be made. In fact, the Raptors could, really doesn't handcuff us or mess us up if we're held up by this because we can independently go and throw contracts on Sharp and Biddle and fill out the roster that way without even having to deal with a vet or anybody else. In fact, that probably is what we're going to do. It could very well be Lundy. Lundy is in the picture somehow. I could see this. I could see this like this. Medved Ted saying at Reggie, maybe we can get DeMar. Pistons also want him. Interesting. That would be kind of nice if DeMar went to Detroit because he'd be reunited with Casey. Casey is still working for Detroit. He still is in their front office. And that's like a powerful father-son type relationship between Coach Dwayne Casey and DeMar DeRozan. So, I like this idea of DeMar in Detroit, even if he's going to an opposing team and we'll have to face him. It's just a nice thing for DeMar, because that's a team where he could get production. He'd be on the team with Cade Cunningham, and it would be a very interesting combo to work off of each other. And I think that DeMar could get the allowance of shots and minutes on the Pistons that are good for him in his career all-time scoring with moving up the list. So I really like this move. I like this way more than him coming to Toronto is DeMar on the Pistons. And some people will say, wait, Lex, you're the Raptors freak. You're supposed to love the Raptors and having DeMar back on the team. I love DeMar. Our time with DeMar was when it was. And in some ways, it doesn't mean we have to revisit him and have him on our team again. I love DeMar. Trust me. I love DeMar DeRozan. That man rode for our city. That man was Toronto. That man did everything, and he was the ultimate sacrifice. But in some ways, we got to think about what's best for our team to get the next Larry. That's the thing we got to think about right here. Yeah. It's a very interesting situation in some ways. I don't like being talking bad about him. I really don't. And I don't want to talk bad about him. I really don't. Smooth saying this, seriously, all players involved in this need to be settled. Families are involved. Living situations have to be established. Well, I mean, they've been instructed, from what I hear, to act like the trade has gone through and start buying your properties or renting your properties and getting yourselves established. The Grady Dick and Mr. and Mrs. Dick, Carmen Dick, are going to LA, and they're figuring out where Grady's going to live and figuring out what to do. And him and Carla Lessing are spending time on the Long Beach Pier or whatever. They're out there, hanging out and enjoying LA life already. Kawhi already starting to hover around Toronto and try and figure things out here. Maybe calling people up and saying, hey, is that Kawhi and Dine thing still going on? Can you come down and get something to eat? Sorry, Kawhi. Nah, sorry, man. You don't get that now. I mean, that's what they publicly said, that they've informed the players to act like they're on the teams that they got traded to and start forming their lives like that. Now, that's the thing that would be crazy. If this gets all messed up somehow and they put that legwork into it, that could cause some crazy chaos. Adam Silver don't want that. Adam Silver wants this trade to go through, and he will make it go through. Watch. He will. He will make it go through. G saying this, all I know is the lawyers on all sides are making a ton of money off this. Well, that's often the case in this kind of stuff like this. It was definitely the investigating party, Wachtell, is probably making a mint with the hours billed on this stupid aspiration investigation. In some ways, it's costing all kinds of stuff. I would say this: if Steve Ballmer is found in trouble, he's guilty of doing cap circumvention, that he has to pay the legal fees for this past year that the NBA had to spend money on. I think that may be part of the punishment, right? That would be part of it, right? Fiercey saying this. Good morning to Fiercey, our Raptor Freak trivia champion. Thank you for supporting the channel. Morning, fam, and happy game day. I will not be pessimistic for tonight. I know they will play hard against the Aces. This game will help front office hopefully make wise and more and important future decisions. I just want to see us compete. If we don't win the game, but we play them hard and we give them a good run for it, and it's a close game, even if we just barely lose, I will be happy. I would like for us to win, and there is ways for us to win. ESPN says we have a 35% chance of winning. That's a 1 in 3 chance, right? But I'm being realistic also, and I'm understanding who we're up against. And Becky Hammon is absolutely a maniac with competitiveness. That's why I'm kind of mad that we're getting robbed of Sandy versus Becky, because that is a really marquee coaching matchup. But we'll get to play the Aces a few times still by the end of the year. So we'll get that matchup eventually. But yeah, and also, as much as Infamous or somebody was saying earlier that the players may be looking forward to the All-Star break, that can hinder our team just as much as it hinders the Aces also. Because we could have players that are looking forward to getting the break also. And they're kind of checked out and not totally locked in as they should be for this last game before the break. We'll just have to see. We'll watch it tonight, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. That's for sure. Always good to see Fiercey, our trivia champion. That's right. Learning how to play against championship caliber teams will be a good for us. Yeah. We're getting good teams coming up. The Lynx, as soon as we get done and we come back, it's Minnesota. And that's the thing, man. They're getting closer and closer to getting Collier back. And they are just going to be even more dominant and tough when Nafisa's back, right? It's going to be crazy. Yeah. Fiercely saying, I lost my matchup in the WNBA fantasy. Congrats to MK. That's a big deal. So the 1 defeated is now 2 defeated. And these were the results from our fantasy this weekend. We are moving into a new week today. Reese's Nieces did beat Logical Raptors Fanatic. James beat Cool Cat. MK did beat Fiercey by over 100 even. And Kaz won his matchup against Kareem. And I dominated my matchup against Smoking Aces. So I'm at 8-2. Kaz is at 8-2. Fiercey's at 8-2. And we're the top 3 teams in our league now, all tied at 8-2. So yeah, get your lineup set up for this weird week where we have a game today, but then we'll be off for a while because of the All-Star break. So the way it's got it ranked is Fiercey's number 1 still, with the number 1 seed. Kaz is number 2, and I'm number 3. We're all 8-2 though, with the same record. I got to play Kaz this week too, so this will be a big matchup between him and I in this one right here. Yeah. Common Crazy is saying, protected species color shirt. Laugh out loud. What are you talking about? Protected species? Yeah, this whole thing is just unfortunate. Koalas and other animals over there. That's just a statement that Australians make. And she tried to say that this is kind of a normal thing in sports over there, to talk about people that are protected from fouls. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just not it's not good in translation. It's not good in translation. Smooth saying this, Lex, as long as this Kawhi remains murky, there's a lot to talk about. Not what you like, but it's there. Well, once again, I would say, just like with Giannis trade speculation in the last few years, a decade really, LeBron speculation about him, where he's going to land right now. It's all the same stuff. They're speculating. In some ways, the NBA is not coming out with news reports every day telling us everything that's going on. They're not going to do that. So people are filling in the gaps and they're just making shit up, or they're making educated guesses or things like that. That's why, once again, I feel like, if you guys want to get into it and look at all the different creators and what they're saying, that's fine. That's your right. But to me, it's a waste of time. Because I feel like we just wait, and when we get the official word, the NBA press release that is all in the official document with the official statement, the punishment and the outcome, that's when I care next. Because everything before then is pretty much going to be like not necessarily easy to substantiate as truth. And it's just kind of people blowing hot air. So, I mean, if you're into that stuff, some people like watching CNN all day and just listening to the same shit over and over again. I'm not into it. I like to go and focus on other things than obsess about the Kawhi situation right now. I mean, that's just me personally. But if you guys are into it, you got time this summer and you feel like doing it, it's your right. I won't get mad at you. There's a lot to talk about it, but is it necessary? That's what I would say. Is it necessary to talk about it? Yeah. Yeah, it's just really I want to do all kinds of things this summer. I'm doing a lot of things with plants and things out in my yard. And I could sit inside and watch like podcasts on Kawhi Leonard all day long if I wanted to. But in some ways, I'm like, this is a waste of my summer. I don't need to do this. This is the time when I should be outside and enjoying things because it's not winter. That's kind of my stance on it right now. I'll keep up with the important stuff. Like even that John Hollinger thing you were talking about. As you said, you may think it's just fear mongering. And I agree with you. It could very well be. Is this totally necessary for us to hear and understand? That's just what John Hollinger is saying. Adam Silver said he wants it done by August, though. So we'll see who's right. Michael Grange said it would be done by the board and governors meeting. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody's just making predictions. They don't really know. It's kind of like me trying to figure out when Kiki Rice is going to come back. Oh, Kiki Rice is going to be back on August the 6th. And I'll just say it exactly. And boom. Oh, what? But how do you know that, Lex? Oh, I'm just speculating. I'm just making it up. Kiki Rice will be back on that date. How do you know? I'm not her doctor. I don't know. I just made it up. Oh, when is the aspiration thing going to be figured out? Well, let's just make up a date. It's the same thing. It's the same thing to me. They don't know. They don't know. Fiercely saying this. Congratulations to Alan Graves and his wife. We already know why he'll be out of a game for personal reasons in January 2027. Well, hopefully they can have the baby on a day where it don't matter. Because I hate this shit. I get it. If they're on a road trip and they want to be there to be in person to see the baby born, that makes sense. But when Fred had his third child, it pissed me off because he missed like 6 games around his third child. No, come on now. You should only miss 1 game if you're having a baby. I'm sorry. It's annoying. Maybe if there's complications, the birth and the mother's in trouble or it's scary, I can get that. But for the most part, when Fred left for his third baby's child, like born, part of it, the reason why he took so long to be away is because he had seen the writing on the wall that the team was shifting gears to Scotty Barnes being the centerpiece of the team. And in some ways, he's like, yeah, no, I need to be here because we're having a baby. It's Layla. And I'm going to miss 6 games because of this. It was pissing me off. I'm like, Fred, fucking come back, man. You don't need to miss 6 games for your child's birth. It wasn't 6. I'm exaggerating. But it was something like 3 or 4 games that he missed just for birth. I'm not about this. If Alan Graves is a good dad, he'll be out there earning money for his baby boy while the baby boy is being born. And you don't miss no games. Seriously. Hopefully they can time it that way. The baby will come out on an off day when he can just go watch the baby be born and he doesn't miss a single game. Because, we'll have to see. Yeah, let's see. It's a Walona. Oh, okay. So Stargate was participating in the trivia, and I didn't do so well on that. Nell Carter. That's a good guess. Oh, Jeanette Dubois. Yeah, that was a tough question. That was a really tough question. And in some ways, the Jeffersons, even though they were on when I was a really little kid, they're a little bit ahead of my time. A little bit ahead of my time. Let's see. Stargate saying this. Oops, did I overstep my bounds with that correction? Wouldn't want anyone complaining about me offline again for that. Don't do shit like this. Seriously. You can tell that the people that had a problem with you aren't here. So Stargate, seriously, this is what I'm talking about. There's no reason to bring this up. Have I mentioned any of the issues with you while the show has been on? You just did yourself. I don't want to bring this stuff out and talk about this stuff because I feel like in some ways you're being disruptive and abrasive to the people that enjoy my show. And I asked you to not talk about this kind of stuff and just kind of just go with the flow and be more positive. So you whining about this is whining. You're like, oh, would want somebody complaining about me offline again. Don't bring this shit up. Listen, those people aren't complaining about you anymore. They just left. You turned them off enough from my show that they're not here anymore. So you want to continue this kind of energy. It's negative and toxic. I might kick you out from the channel. And in some ways, this comment was not necessary. We can keep this business personal behind the scenes. But if you want to bring it in a comment and make light of it right here, that's your fault, not mine. And if you listen, I have not said anything about the issues that have happened around you publicly on this show until just now because you brought it up. And that's what I say right there. So, Stargate, don't do this, man. You're not a victim, okay? So don't act like a victim. You were abrasive to other people and you actually drove people away from my channel. And I've asked you to stop doing that. And if you respect my channel and what I'm trying to do on this show, you will do it. And there's no reason for you to bring this comment. You should have retracted that comment. I don't care about the other comments. I didn't even see them. Fiercey's saying this: enjoy the condo renovations, Mr. Gray. Yeah, I mean, enjoy them. Nobody enjoys renovations. It's annoying. It's stressful. It's like moving. You know, you got to be displaced for a little while. Nobody enjoys renovations. Maybe after they're done, if they're done well, you enjoy them afterwards. But no, nobody enjoys that process. It's a stressful thing and it's annoying. And I'm sure Mr. Gregg wants these days to go by quick so he can just get back to normal, is what I would think. Yeah. Yeah. Nice phone call by Infamous. I appreciate that today. So this is your order, Stargate. You just put Bird, Jerry West, Joker, Dirk, and then Stockton. See, he has Stockton last also. He does. You know, in some ways, Stockton just doesn't translate to today's era. He'd be good still. Don't get me wrong, but he'd be a different kind of point guard in today's NBA. And I don't think he would be, you know, he wouldn't be as dominant or as good as he was in his era, in this era now. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't be. No, no, he wouldn't. Let's see. Stargate was saying Arvidas was better than Joker when he was in the USSR. He came into the NBA when he was like 75 years old. He wasn't that old. You know, it's they're very similar in some ways. In a lot of ways, they're similar. It's hard to say. You know, the other thing you got to realize when you're saying this, Stargate, is Arvidas was playing against different competition overseas when he was in Russia. He wasn't necessarily playing the very best. So he could look really, really good over there. And you're right. He did come over to the NBA finally in an older age, and his back was already kind of shot by then. So I don't, it's hard to say. I would say Jokic, because in theory and practice, he has done it at the highest level in the NBA. That's why I would say that Nikola Jokic is a better player than Arvydas Sabonis at the peak of Sabonis. Because you got to remember, Sabonis didn't play in the NBA at his peak. So we don't know how his peak would have looked like against guys like Olajuwon and Ewing and Robinson at that time, you know? Let's see. Arvydas at 22 was the best player in the world. That's probably true, but we didn't see him against the best in the world in the NBA. And that's the thing right there. Stargate saying also, Lou Carnessa was trying to get Sabonis over to America to play in St. John's. Yeah. I think I remember that. Stargate saying Lundy would be technically be replacing AJ Lawson. The thing with AJ Lawson, and he just had his birthday in the last week. Happy birthday, AJ. We love you. Always will be a Canadian Raptor and always an important person for our history. And I won't, we'll always remember all the fun and good things that you've done in the 2 years on our team. The thing about AJ Lawson is that he's a certain amount of years in the league now that his vet minimum is above the money that we have available right now. Once again, he's a candy in the candy store that we can't afford to buy from the shopkeeper. So in some ways you find a guy who's less years and, somebody like Lundy. So maybe Lundy is in that role that Lawson was in last year. That could very well be true. That could be very, very well true. Fiercely saying this: I see Grady surfing, skateboarding on Venice Beach and enjoying the beach. Yeah, he posted one of the things Grady did after he got traded, traded, was he posted a picture of his girlfriend, Carla Lessing, in a very hot swimsuit. And he said, I am a lucky man. So he's like, look, my NBA life may be in turmoil and changing and transition, but one thing ain't changing in my life. It's that I'm dating a very hot girl. And be jelly, y'all, because this is my girlfriend, Carla. And she's coming to California, and she's going to be a California girl. That's the energy that I got from Grady afterwards. It's like, my life is great, man. I get millions of dollars to play this sport that I love, and I have a beautiful girl in my life. That's Grady right there. That's Grady right there. Fiercely saying this, I don't see who can guard Marina tonight. Jewel Lloyd is a great defender when her offense is out, but she can catch fouls quickly while defending. Asia is good at blocks. Jackie Young, not bad also. I'm confused. Are you saying Jewel Lloyd is a good defender or not a good defender? Because to me, I know she's a very good offensive player. On the Storm, she was just everything there. And the Aces, she's taken a decline on her offensive output, but that's partly to fit in with the other very big players on the team with her at this point. I'm just wondering, is Jewel Lloyd a very good defender that she's going to shut down Marina Mabry? Or could it be that Marina can shake loose and get going tonight? Because that's what we want, right? Tempo fans, we want to see Marina Mabry show tonight. That's right. That's what we want to see. That's right. Fiercely saying Aces are more of an offensive team. Side note, both weeks I lost in fantasy were when Asia Wilson was either injured or this past week when the Aces were not playing. So it sounds like she's the most important player to your team. She's an MVP, is what it sounds like right there. G saying the Aces are very dependent on Wilson, almost like the Nuggets with Joker. Well, that would make sense. You have that kind of player that has that kind of dominance in the league. That should be the person that's kind of everything centered around and doted on. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Fiercely saying renovations are annoying indeed, but when you think of the outcome and know your vision pans out, it's rewarding, kind of like rebuilding a team. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, to me, I had major renovations to my bathroom last year, and it was annoying. It was very, very annoying, and it's nice to have the bathroom like the way it is now, and don't get me wrong, but I'm also kind of like, I guess maybe it's because of my upbringing. I was raised with parents that were very much into design and renovating our house and doing things all the time that it's kind of lost on me. I don't know why. It's like I'm a practical person. I'm not really about aesthetics. I'm not about like something like looking beautiful or something being like very beautiful, but it doesn't work. I like things that work. I like things that actually just like it could be ugly, but if it works really well, I'm great with it. And some people like design and they like everything to look a certain way. In some ways, I don't care about that. I just want functionality. I guess that's just my mindset. And sometimes I feel like the renovations are not totally worth it because of the displacement and all the problems. And I was like, everything worked already. But when they're necessary and needed, yeah, that's what's definitely true with our bathroom here because it was all messed up. It needed some help for sure. All right, let me start checking on my tabs real quick. We got the CBL. They had a couple games yesterday, and we had Winnipeg against Montreal, and Teddy Allen broke some records last night. Holy crap, did he? Holy crap, did Teddy Allen break some records last night? Winnipeg won 109-80, first of all, which is a 29-point win. Absolutely drubbing the Montreal Alliance. Teddy Allen scored 54 points in the CBL last night. That is the most points ever scored in the league ever. So he just got the high score for CBL history. And not only that, he scored the most points in a CBL season ever as of last night. He has the most total points anybody scored ever in a CBL season. So Teddy Allen is record breaking. 54 points, y'all. That is crazy. And he had 10 rebounds to boot. So he had a double-double. That's insane. He shot 21 of 29 from the field, 72%, including 9 of 14 from 3. Man, he's in that Mabry area right there. He got one more point than Marina, but he got the same amount of three-pointers, 9 three-pointers. Amazing. Amazing work here. Amazing work here. Xavier Moon, cousin of Jamario Moon, with 17 points and 14 assists in the game also. Yeah, I don't even want to go over what happened with the Alliance. They were so bad. But yeah, 54 points for Teddy Allen yesterday. In the other game yesterday, Saskatoon beat Calgary. And let's see, was it Jaden Bediako Did he do good in this game? Jaden Bediako, 17 points for him, but the leading scorer was Tavarian Dunn Martin, the captain, with 34 points. 22 points for Jameer Chaplin also. So, yeah, Saskatoon beating Calgary. And, well, Calgary stays at the bottom of the league. And, Saskatoon keeps some distance away from them to not fall out of the playoffs. So, yeah, Winnipeg, holy crap, launched themselves up to the number one team in the West off of 54 points from Teddy Allen. There's no games tonight. They're taking a break today, but there'll be a couple of games tomorrow on Tuesday in the CBL. Yeah, just a little CBL check-in. Really interesting that Teddy Allen did that. All right, let's do some Reddit check. Toronto Tempo Redditor of the Day, OK Age 3734, is asking a question. Injury prone? Question mark. I love this team, and I'm thrilled to watch and enjoy Tempo's first season. I'm wondering, though, if this number of injuries is normal. It isn't a huge team, and we have Sabley, Sykes, and Rice out. We only just got Temi back. We also had Mabry out with the neck issue less than 1 month ago, although thankfully that seemed like a blip. It was. What's up with this? Is our training or playing approach too physically demanding? Are our players more prone to injury or just bad luck? This is a great question from somebody who's not as familiar with basketball and playing basketball, obviously. There's been a lot of interesting questions from first time Tempo fans that have never really watched basketball until now. Somebody was complaining on Reddit the other day that they aren't going to watch the Tempo after the season because they've already determined that the league is unfair towards them with the referees and that they think the whole thing's a sham and they're all just turned off from it. Well, welcome to being a fan of a Toronto basketball team. This is exactly how it is for the Raptors, and it has been for 30 years. And it's going to be the same for the Tempo, obviously. It's showing that way. I thought maybe the Tempo could avoid the Canada tax, but they're getting it. They're getting it right now, and it is completely unfair. And you're exactly right. But this is what you do. You either decide you're a fan and you go in the foxhole with them through all the ups and downs and the unfairness, and you get that championship when we finally did in 2019. It's all the sweeter because you went the hard route. You went the tough way. And yeah, maybe your sense of fairness gets you pissed off and turns you off from wanting to watch it because you feel like it's not right. Well, I would say this in accordance to the injury question. This is a part of the game. In some ways, yeah, you can build a team that is very deep and can weather the storm of possible injuries. But this is a brand new team that's starting from scratch. So we're basically taking what we could get, the best optimal people we could get for the position we're in as a first year team. And that in some cases means we're trying to build chemistry and connection while also dealing with major injuries this season. Now, the major injuries partly are because we do have a couple players on our team that have been injury prone in their careers. Also, it is bad luck. Also, it is partly that we've been playing players out of position because we haven't been fully staffed with bigs, and they've gotten slightly hurt because of that also. It's a combination of a lot of things. I think that new Tempo fans need to realize that this is basketball, that you have to navigate injuries to your team. And next woman up mentality is so essential and important. And well, this year we're a brand new team and we're just starting with the first rough draft. And well, we've got to learn how we can secure our team and make it more deep in the future so that we can withstand injuries to key players in different places better in the future. But this is a tough thing to be dealt in your first year. It is. Absolutely. But this is part of it. This is part of playing basketball. This is part of being in the WNBA or the NBA. So it's common. But we are the team, I think, out of the whole entire league that has the most games missed by injury. And that is unfortunate. Now, this is why the Raptors made a huge investment in their training staff. Like their people that deal with them, the people that deal with health, Dr. Alex McKechnie, This is an investment by our team to try and get the best possible outcomes with injuries and health. And the tempo are once again starting from scratch. And it could very well be that their staff could be improved over the years just as much as our roster could be improved for depth. So these are all things to look for. New tempo fans with your concerns that have to do with injuries. They're just a part of the game. And that's part of the GM's job is to build a team that can withstand absences from different people so that you can still be at the right competitive level to try and win games. So yeah, great Reddit question by OKAge 3734. And I hope that that kind of illuminates things a little bit for newer fans of basketball. The Toronto Raptors Redditor of the day is Extreme Character 893, and they have a post of a graphic that's really cool. Over the past decade, the Raptors have sent 7 different players to the All-Star game. That's right. They have a graph, and there's only 2 teams that have sent 7 different players to the All-Star game. The other team is Cleveland. The 7 players for us are DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, and Brandon Ingram. So that's 7 All-Stars in the last 10 years for our team. And look at it this way. The Nuggets have only had 2 All-Stars, Joker and Jamal. The Lakers have only had 3 All-Stars. The Celtics have had 6. The Knicks have had 5. The Sixers have had 4. So we're in good shape. We've had 7 different All-Stars in the last 10 years. So I think that says a lot about our team that, we've had some very good talent pass through our team, but also we've had various different people come up and get to that point. Because if you look at DeMar, you look at Pascal, Fred, Scotty, these are all drafted people by us, people that came into our team first, undrafted Fred, and we made them into All-Stars. You got Brandon and Kawhi. These are guys who came to our team and then made All-Star on our team. But most of these guys were homegrown, developed guys that came up through our system. Kyle Lowry also. So that's a really impressive thing. And I'm proud of the Raptors for this. And I appreciate Extreme Character 893 for posting it on Reddit. This is the kind of stuff I like to see. It's a positive post. It's a positive post. All right, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. The Raptors lost their last game of Summer League, and it's annoying. And I'm a little sour about it. So I got the pickled Canadian sauerkraut, which is this is straight goods on Canadian goods. This is a company called Pickle Canadian, and they do pickles, but they do sauerkraut also. They pickle the sauerkraut. And this is a Canadian grown cabbage and Canadian made. It's natural fermented, and it's a natural source of probiotics. That's the thing. Y'all, did you know that fermented foods can actually help depression? If you feel sad, one of the sayings you could say is, and when in a pickle, eat a pickle. Because if you eat a pickle, there's stuff in the fermentation that goes into your gut that literally makes you feel better. It's like a natural serotonin or a natural kind of thing to pep up your mood. So eating sauerkraut and other fermented kind of foods can actually be a really good health bonus for you mentally to fight off depression or sadness, or it also helps your gut health with digestion and moving things through smoother so you don't have, upset stomach and stuff. So seriously, this is something that could be good for your health, pickles or fermented pickled foods like sauerkraut. So yeah, Pickle Canadian sauerkraut. Go check it out. You can get it. This is a 100% Canadian product. And all done here in our economy. It has nothing to do with the United States. You spend money on this, it's staying here in this country. That's right. There's just straight goods on Canadian goods. Pickled Canadian sauerkraut. And just a little side on fermented foods real quick right there. Happy birthday to Will Solomon. That's right. We have a birthday today. One-time Raptor Will Solomon of Hartford, Connecticut is turned 48 today. He played for the Raptors for 1 season in 39 games. He started 9 of them, and he averaged just shy of 5 points per game. So we're going to say a happy birthday to Will Solomon, who played for the Raptors in 2008, 2009. Yeah, we get a birthday for people. We're going to say their birthday. All right, just a real quick check in with HD real quick. We are in the gate of stimulation, which is the gate 56. We're in the second day. And the word for today is linkage. Linkage. So think about linkage. The detriment is a superficiality which collapses under recognition, is eventually forced to move on, a gift for communicating, but not enough depth. But the exaltation is isolated genius that will eventually find continuity through recognition and support, a genius for stimulating expression that will take time to mature and will need others to recognize it. All right, so linkage. So I guess the theme is to find linkage with other people and connection, whether you connect with them in personal ways or through social media, or just finding a recognition from the other person, from seeing it. It's like somebody watching me on the show and saying, oh, this guy, yeah, he's interesting to watch for the ref report or the basketball stuff he talks about, you know. So yeah, linkage, that's the word for today in the gate of stimulation line 2, linkage. So think about linkages in your life today. Well, that's the theme of the day. All right, let's see. Maybe I'm done now, guys. All right, we're just coming up on 2 hours. Let's go ahead and get the classic card, and we'll start moving out of the stream. That's right. All right, here we go. This one's a little easy, I think. Yeah. Fiercely saying, sorry, I'm clarifying. Jewel Lloyd is indeed an offensive threat, but at times she goes cold and switches on defense. When she does that, she fouls often. I don't see who besides her who will defend Marina. So Gray and Young aren't really those kind of players. Oh, I'm going to see this. I've watched the Aces play in the past, but not in this way against a team that I care about, like the Tempo. So I'll be watching them with new eyes today. And much like all the teams of the WNBA we've seen so far, I'll have a feel for how I feel about their franchise and the state of their team at this point. In some ways, the championships of the years past don't mean anything to me. This is a blank slate and a brand new view at them, So we'll have to see it, because some of it has to do with, like you said earlier, they haven't seen us yet, so they don't know what the matchup is. And we'll have to see how the matchup looks between Toronto and Las Vegas, because we matched up really well with Golden State, and I wasn't as impressed with Golden State because of it. And it could very well be that there are some good things in the matchup with the Tempo and the Aces, which will make me feel the same way in some ways. Yeah, Gray gets lots of steals. Okay, so she's jumping in the passing lane. All right, this is way too easy. In some ways, I got to hold this card from far away because it's way too easy, guys. So if you can see it from right there, full name answer, if you can get it, it's so easy. It's like so easy. This player is definitely very well known, and this player is also appeared in a major motion picture. So it's kind of easy card. Let's see if you guys can see it from here. It's an eye test. It's pretty iconic number and jersey, so you should be able to get it from there. If I have to bring it closer, I will. But if you guys can see it, yeah, you got it, Fiercey. Of course, this is Patrick Ewing, and it's very Patrick Ewing. It's like right up in his face. Very, very big Patrick Ewing card. Hey, Seymour's here. Good morning, Sheriff. Good to see you, Seymour. Yeah, look at that Ewing card on the back, man. Yeah, Ewing was a force, man. I don't like the Knicks now, but I used to like Patrick Ewing. I liked the Pat Riley Knicks with Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley and John Starks. They were a fun team to watch. I definitely did not hate them like I hate the Knicks now. It's kind of crazy how it's like, the Lakers and the Celtics and the Knicks of the 80s. I like those teams. I like Magic. I like Larry. I like Patrick. But I can't stand these teams since the Raptors came in and we have to play them and they're annoying after that. Yeah. So yeah, Fiercey's getting the classic card today. It's so easy. It's a 50-point card. But yeah, Seymour, good to see you in the chat, man. I hope everything's going good for you out west. And post Stampede life is treating you well this summer. And just only good things are happening for you, my guy. All right, let's see. Fiercey, 50 points for Patrick Ewing, the classic card of the day. Kind of so easy, man. This is too easy. That's right. All right, let's see. All right. Stargate saying good one. Fiercey saying, Lex, you saw Trae Young ripping Brunson's jersey. Thoughts? Yeah, I like it. I loved it. It was awesome. I'm like, Trae Young, go on. In some ways, all right, look, I don't respect Trae Young as an NBA player, but I do like his beef with the Knicks. I do like I like his success against the Knicks in the past. I like his his busting up the Knicks in Madison Square Garden energy. I love that he did that. That made me love Trae Young more. That made me want to root for Trae Young more because I don't like Jalen Brunson at all. And seeing him rip that jersey, we know why he did that. We know why he did that because of it's Tyrese Halliburton. He wants his spot. And basically, this is it. Jalen Brunson was on Saturday night's main event later that night, and that is wrestling. He was on WWE with Roman Reigns. This is all set up for an angle. The whole reason why Trae Young ripped that jersey is for wrestling. He's ripping the jersey in public so they can talk trash, and Jalen Brunson's in on it. It's not like Jalen Brunson didn't know Trae Young was going to rip that jersey because it's all fake and it's made up like wrestling is. So Jalen Brunson's supposed to say, I saw you on TV, Trae Young, ripping my jersey up. I want to see you in the ring, motherfucker. And Trae Young is say, bitch, I'm going to come to WWE on Monday Night Raw and I'm going to slap SmackDown on you on Monday. That's what this is. That's what this whole thing is. It's just Tyrese Halliburton did it the first time. And they rolled in the ring and they messed around. Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton fighting on Monday Night Raw. But somebody got hurt rolling into the ring. It was actually funny. Jalen Brunson hurt his knee in the wrestling ring. But then Halliburton got the injury, and he's been out. So the WWE couldn't do the storyline between Brunson and Halliburton anymore. So it's Trae Young. Trae Young is going to step into the ring with Jalen Brunson. It's like, Trae Young, look at the dude. He's a little scrawny guy. What the hell is he going to do in a wrestling ring? Come on now. That man needs to bulk up, not just for basketball, but for the WWE ring. So that's what this is. This is all a setup. This is fake. Trae Young ripping the jersey is totally for a wrestling angle. And I can see it a mile away. It's not real. So anybody who's making opinions on Trae Young, saying like he's immature or this is like unnecessary, don't do this. Realize this is just wrestling. And there's nothing really real about it. Jalen Brunson's in on it. He knows that Trae Young was going to do that. He knew that he was going to do that. They got the okay from Jalen Brunson about it. He's like, oh, we're going to do this. Yeah, that's what this is. That's what this is. So yeah, that's what it is. Fiercey. It's all wrestling. It's not Trae Young being tacky. It's actually part of a storyline. It's part of a storyline. Stargate saying, yeah, Trae does not like the Knicks at all. Yeah, I love that. They're building. This is exactly how we do it in wrestling. And Stargate knows this very, very well. If there's a real beef between people behind the scenes in wrestling, they'll capitalize on it. They'll say, you guys really hate each other. Well, we're going to put y'all in a program where you're all going to fight each other for real. And we're going to derive real feelings of hate that you actually have. And it'll look even more real on TV because we're taking this opportunity of this conflict and we're making it into something. So that's what this is. That's what this is. Fiercely saying competition will be intense in the East. Some for talent, some for beef, some for egos. Yeah, this is all just wrestling. This is bullshit. It's not like Trae Young is going to be a factor in the East next year. He's on the Wizards. Come on now. And this team is just trying to figure out their identity and who the hell they're going to be with this young core with Trae Young around all of a sudden. So I don't expect them to be a force in the Eastern Conference next year like we will be. So I don't put them in that category. Like in some ways, if you're talking about the East and it being intense, I don't put Washington there. Yeah. Isaac's saying happy Monday. That is all. That is all. Stargate saying, Lex, you remember that wrestler called Nails? Whatever became of him? Laugh out loud. Oh my gosh. All right. Kevin Kelly. I think that's his name. His name's like Kelly or something. All right. The thing that happened with Nails was really kind of messed up, actually. He got blacklisted from wrestling because he made serious allegations about Vince McMahon. There was a time where Nails came into the office to see Vince, and he says that Vince came on to him sexually and tried to have sex with him. Nails said that Vince was being Vince, like we've heard, and how he is, and he did some nasty shit to Nails. Scott Nails, that's what they called him. And he's actually in part of the lawsuits against Vince McMahon for sexual and proprietary things, like the raping of the ringside announcer in the limo in the 80s. There's multiple cases of Vince McMahon acting out in depraved sexual ways that were absolutely reprehensible and wrong and all swept under the rug because he's rich. He's Trump's friend. They act the same way. They're pedophiles and they're fucked up. The whole ring boy scandal around the 1990 was a very fucked up thing where young boys that helped set up the ring for the WWE were getting molested by people around that were involved in WWE. So Scott Nails has an accusation against Vince McMahon that he was summoned to Titan Towers once to his office, and Vince made an indecent proposal on him and tried to move on him. Yeah. And because of his allegations towards Vince, Vince buried him and sent him away. And you'll never work in this industry again. So that's the story with Nails. If you really want to know what happened with Nails, he very much stands on his account of the issue and saying, yeah, Vince was wrong, and I'm a victim of sexual assault. Is basically what he's been saying. So yeah, that's what happened right there. You wanted to know? That's what it is right there. You can go look it up. You can go look this up. Whatever happened to Nails, and you can read all this right there. That's what it is. Yeah. Nails was a solid the fugitive. Nails was really the concept was obviously just be a foil to Ray Traylor's Big Boss Man. And they wanted to have the whole convict versus the prison guard storyline. But Nails, he got to a certain point. The argument against him is that he got really, really egotistical and he thought he was hotter shit than he was. And he was starting to make more demands behind the scenes also. That's another aspect of the whole thing with Nails, is that he was one of these wrestlers that things got to his head and he thought he was bigger than he was. And he found out how big he wasn't. That was another part of it right there. Seymour saying this, Trey couldn't even rip that jersey though. Weakling. I know, that's pretty pathetic. He definitely didn't do what Hogan always did, which was pre-cut some of the parts so it ripped real easy. Yeah. Stargate saying, yeah, Seymour, he had on a orange suit, right? Nails. Yeah, Nails. We know who Nails is. He was a blonde-haired guy who wore an orange jumpsuit like he was a prisoner. And at some point, he got the Big Boss Man's little taser stick, and he started tasing everybody too. He was a troubled wrestler. Apparently, Nails looked really strong and had a body before he became Nails. Like when he was in the Independents, he was a muscle man, and he was like an AWA and stuff like that. He looked totally different. And then Vince brought him in the New Generation era in the 90s. And that's when he became the prisoner guy. Yeah. Fiercely saying, yeah, he was struggling to rip it off. They should have subtly cut a bit to help him out. Yeah, that's what they normally do with that kind of stuff. And Stargate's like, oh, about Vince. Yeah, Vince is a deviant. Vince is one of those oligarch elites that are really fucked up and do really fucked up sexual things to people, whether it's Puff Daddy, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's Bill Cosby, whether it's Vince McMahon. They're all the same type. Harvey Weinstein. They're all the same type. People in power that abuse their power to sexually assault people. And they won't take no for an answer. And, Vince, there's been a lot of allegations about him being bisexual and him being with men as well as women. And that some of the stuff that he would, there's a lot of allegations about him and his relationship with Shawn Michaels. And exactly why Shawn became so big and so popular, because he was doing certain things for Vince behind the scenes. A lot of people don't realize that. That's part of it right there. That's part of it right there. On that note, let's wrap it up real quick. Yeah, we got a game tonight, and it is going to be the Tempo and the Aces right before a WNBA All-Star break. Brittany Sykes, Niara Sabally, and Kiki Rice are all out for today's game for the Tempo. On the other side of things, Kirsten Bell and Jemiah Barker are out for the Aces. The referees for today are going to be Tim Green, Angelica Suffren, and Josh Reed. Our collective record with the referees for this season is 2-4 with the Toronto Tempo. ESPN matchup predictor saying 32.5% chance the Tempo win against Las Vegas tonight. The Raptors lost their last Summer League game against the Denver Nuggets yesterday, 96-89. Jamias Ramsey was the star of the show for the Nuggets. On the other side, the most polished and best player in the game. My 5 stars in the loss for the Raptors: Aziz Bandaago, Namari Burnett, Jamarian Sharp, Brandon Angel, and Jalen Celestine of Ajax are my top 5 stars for the game yesterday. Honorable mention to Malik Thomas. So, yeah, there we go. We're done. Yeah, we'll see the Aces tonight. I don't even know how to give a keys to the victory, the plan of the whip, because, this team is daunting. Aja Wilson is a real force and a true most valuable player in this league. And, I just want to see how we figure out how we're going to play them, especially since we don't have Sabally. And it's likely we're probably going to have to start Temi for tonight's game. I don't know. Does Isabel match up with Wilson okay on a defensive way? Probably not. So we probably do need a true center out there with Fagbenle. We'll have to see. So, yeah, we'll have to see how they do tonight, and we'll have the reaction to the game tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. I'll be back then. All right, y'all, have a great day. Be nice to each other and, eat some fermented foods. They're good for your gut, good for your probiotic gut health. Yeah, sauerkraut and pickles. If you're feeling sad and you're in a pickle, eat a pickle. That's a good thing to do. Seriously, it'll boost your mood. It's a really quick boost for your mood immediately. It works. I'm telling you right now. You eat a sour pickle that's been fermented, your mood instantly gets in a better mood. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Tempo. Thanks for calling, Infamous. I appreciate it.